The math said he should be dead. By the end of the day, history said otherwise. April 1944. Central Germany. Morning light spreads thin and grey over frozen fields and broken towns. The war is already awake. Rail yards burn from the night's bombing. Smoke drifts low, trapped under clouds. At 23,000 feet, the 8th Air Force crosses the Rhine. Hundreds of aircraft. Heavy bombers in tight formation. Fighters threading above and around them like needles. The sound is constant. Engines at cruise power. Propellers biting thin air. Oxygen masks fogging with breath. The P-51 Mustang carries just over 180 gallons internally. Enough for escort. Not enough for mistakes. Fuel is always the clock. The mission is routine on paper. Long-range escort for bombers striking industrial targets deep inside Germany. Bearings and headings already memorized. Ammunition counted before takeoff. 6.50 caliber machine guns. 400 rounds per gun. No more. Flak bursts bloom below them. Black, precise, disciplined. German gunners know the altitude. They have weeks of data. Fighters will come soon. Inside one Mustang, the pilot's shoulders are already tight. He has been flying combat sorties for months. Sleep comes in pieces now. The mind never fully shuts down. Every vibration feels like damage. Every smell could be smoke. To his right, another P-51 holds position. Close. Almost wingtip to wingtip. They have flown together before. They know each other's habits. When one moves, the other follows without asking why. They are over enemy territory for less than 10 minutes when the radio crackles. Bandits. High. Sunward. The Mustangs roll left together. Throttles forward. Manifold pressure spikes. The aircraft shudders as the propeller digs in. German fighters drop out of the glare. Fast. Controlled. Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs, their noses already steady, already firing. The sky compresses. Short, sharp bursts. Traces pass close enough to be counted. The Mustang's engine note changes as the pilot pulls hard, G-forces stacking weight onto his chest. A hit lands somewhere aft. The aircraft lurches. Not catastrophic. Yet. He stays in the fight. Below, bombers hold formation, bleeding altitude as flak chews holes through aluminum skin. A B-17 drops out of line trailing smoke. Parachutes bloom late. The radio fills with fragments. Call signs cut off mid-sentence. Then the second Mustang takes a hit. Oil pressure drops instantly. The cockpit fills with the smell of hot metal. The engine coughs, catches, then coughs again. He knows the sound. There is no fixing this. The pilot levels out, pushes the nose down, trying to buy distance. The engine seizes before he can reach friendly lines. The propeller freezes in place. Silence replaces the roar. At 18,000 feet, he releases the canopy. Cold air slams into the cockpit. The aircraft begins to yaw. He doesn't wait for the spin. He jumps. The parachute opens clean. White against grey. Below him, fields stitched by roads and hedgerows. No friendly territory anywhere. He hits the ground hard. Rolls. Comes up already moving. It doesn't matter. German soldiers are there within minutes. Rifles raised. Orders shouted. Hands in the air. The war has shrunk to a field and a fence. By noon he is processed, searched, stripped of maps, compass, pistol. By evening, he is behind wire. A Luftwaffe-run prisoner enclosure used to collect downed airmen before transport east. Barbed wire. Guard towers. Dogs. He is tired in a way that sleep will not fix. That night, another American was shoved into the compound. Flight jacket torn. Face bruised. Same look in the eyes. They recognize each other immediately. Not friends. Not strangers. Pilots from the same sky. They talk quietly after lights out. Names. Squadrons. Where they were hit. What they saw before going down. Neither expected to survive the day. Neither plans to stay. Escape is discussed the way airspeed is discussed, calmly, technically. How many guards? Where the wire bends. How often the lights sweep. They know the odds. POW camps are designed to hold men until the war ends. The Germans are efficient. Escape attempts usually fail. Still, the conversation continues. At dawn, trucks arrive. The prisoners are marched out in columns. Destination unknown. Likely a permanent camp. Weeks away from any aircraft. Months from another chance. As they pass the edge of the field, one of the Americans sees something that stops him cold. A P-51 Mustang. Intact. Parked near a hangar. Yellow nose. American markings painted over with rough German crosses. Recently captured. Recently flown. Guarded, but not heavily. The aircraft is real. Solid. Close enough to touch. The numbers begin running in his head without permission. Fuel capacity. Range. Distance to the nearest Allied strip. 1 seat. 1 set of controls. 1 engine. He says nothing yet. The column keeps moving. But the math has already started. And the math says it cannot be done. 1 seat. 1 control stick. 1 set of rudder pedals. Fuel unknown. Distance to friendly territory. More than 300 miles. 2 men. They keep marching. The guards are alert but not tense. This is routine for them. Downed airmen are processed every week now. The Luftwaffe is losing aircraft faster than it can replace them, but prisoners still arrive. The system still works. The Americans walk with heads down. Boots crunching on gravel. No talking allowed. But the image of the Mustang does not leave either of them. By mid-morning they are loaded into trucks and driven only a short distance. Not east. Not to a railhead. Instead, to a temporary holding camp near a small Luftwaffe field. The kind used for damaged aircraft and overflow personnel. Coincidence is dangerous. The compound is crude. Wooden barracks. Single wire fence. Guard towers spaced too far apart. Aircraft sit on hardstands just beyond the perimeter. Not bombers. Fighters. Trainers. A mix of German and captured Allied machines. The Mustang is still there. Closer now. Its canopy is closed. Tires inflated. No visible damage. A mechanic stands nearby smoking, hands black with oil. The 2 Americans exchange a look. No words. None needed. That night, they talked again. Quiet. Measured. They sketch the field in the dirt with a stick. Count guards. Note patrol timing. Identify blind spots. The routine is simple, which makes it dangerous. Simple routines are predictable. The Mustang becomes the center of the drawing. They talk through the numbers again. Fuel consumption at cruise. Best power setting. Altitude trade-offs. The drag penalty of a second body. The cockpit was never designed for this. The P-51 center of gravity is already critical when fuel burns off. Add another man behind the pilot, and the aircraft may become uncontrollable. They acknowledge it. They keep going anyway. The plan forms without optimism. This is not hope. This is calculation. The next afternoon, a formation of German fighters returns from patrol. Engines wind down. Pilots climb out. Ground crews move in. Noise increases. Attention scatters. A truck backfires near the barracks. A guard turns his head. The Americans are already moving. They cut through the fence where wire has been repaired poorly, twisted instead of welded. The opening is narrow. It tears fabric and skin. Neither stops. They run low, using aircraft shadows for cover. No shouting yet. No whistles. They reach the Mustang. Up close, it smells familiar. Oil. Fuel. Hot metal. The canopy is unlocked. Inside, the cockpit is cramped even for 1 man. The pilot climbs in first. Muscle memory takes over. Hands fall to switches. Throttle quadrant. Magnetos. The second man has no place to sit. They do not debate it. He climbs onto the fuselage behind the seat, wedging himself between the armor plate and the rear canopy frame. Legs tucked. Arms wrapped around the pilot's torso. If he slips, he will fall into the propeller arc. If the aircraft pitches too hard, he will be thrown clear. They know this. The engine start is the loudest sound on the field. The Merlin coughs, then catches. Blue smoke bursts from the exhaust stacks. The propeller spins into a solid disc. Shouts erupt. The pilot pushes the throttle forward before the engine has stabilized. The Mustang surges, lurching under the sudden load of 2 bodies. The aircraft taxis without clearance, weaving around parked machines. A guard fires. The shot goes wide. Another runs for a vehicle-mounted machine gun. He is too slow. The Mustang reaches the edge of the strip. No run-up. No checks. Full power. The engine roars. The tail lifts early, unstable. The aircraft pulls left under torque. The pilot fights it with a rudder, careful not to overcorrect. The second man clamps tighter, his weight shifting dangerously with every bump. A truck races parallel to the runway. A machine gun opens up. Tracers snap past the cockpit. A hit punches through the fuselage aft. The second man feels it pass inches from his leg. At flying speed, the pilot eases back. The Mustang leaves the ground shallow and ugly, barely clearing the perimeter fence. The aircraft is heavy. Too heavy. The climb rate is poor. Airspeed bleeds off quickly. The pilot lowers the nose, trading altitude for control. They skim treetops, then drop into a shallow valley, using terrain to mask their escape. No one speaks. Wind tears at the second man's goggles. His arms burn from the strain of holding on. The cold is immediate, brutal. At low altitude, it is still winter. The pilot keeps the aircraft below 500 feet, following rivers and rail lines west. No radio. No navigation aids. Just dead reckoning and memory. Fuel becomes the enemy. The gauge needle sits lower than expected. The Mustang had not been topped off. It was likely flown only for test hops. Maybe 60 gallons. Maybe less. On a cruise, that is barely 2 hours. Germany slides beneath them. Farms. Towns. Columns of smoke. Flak bursts far above, aimed at bombers that are no longer there. German fighters pass overhead twice. Both times they miss the Mustang entirely. Too low, too fast, too unexpected. The aircraft shudders in turbulence. The second man's grip loosens, then tightens again. His arms are numb. His legs cramp violently. He cannot move. The pilot feels the weight sag. He adjusts trim, careful not to stall. They cross the Rhine at treetop height. The river flashes silver beneath them, then disappears behind. The fuel needle touches the red. The engine begins to run rough. The pilot leans the mixture further than recommended. Any drop of fuel counts now. Ahead, the landscape changes. More damaged fields. More Allied artillery scars. France. Still no friendly airfield in sight. The engine coughs again. The Mustang keeps going. Barely. The engine does not fail all at once. It degrades. First, a slight unevenness in the propeller note. Then a vibration through the rudder pedals. The pilot eases the throttle back a fraction, knowing full power will only drain what little remains. The fuel gauge needle wavers empty. The Mustang is now a glider with an engine attached. They are at 1,000 feet. No higher. Any climb now would be unrecoverable. Below them, a narrow road cuts through fields scarred by shell holes. A destroyed truck lies in a ditch, its cargo scattered. The front has passed through here recently. That matters. The second man's arms are failing. He shifts his grip, trying to redistribute weight without destabilizing the aircraft. His fingers no longer respond cleanly. They feel thick, distant. Cold and strain have reduced everything to instinct. Ahead, a strip of land appears, barely more than a flattened meadow. Vehicles parked nearby. Tents. A windsock hanging limp. An Allied forward airstrip. The pilot does not celebrate. He calculates. Distance, 2 miles. Altitude, 800 feet. Airspeed, falling. The engine coughs hard this time. The propeller stutters, then catches again. He lowers the nose. They cross the perimeter at tree height. Someone on the ground looks up and freezes, unsure what he is seeing. A Mustang with German crosses. Flying wrong. Flying low. The engine quits completely 200 yards short of the strip. Silence. The propeller windmills uselessly. The pilot commits immediately. No second pass. No go around. He lines up with the flattest section he can see and flares late, minimizing drag. The landing is violent. The left gear collapses on contact. The aircraft slews sideways, digging into soft earth. The right wingtip strikes the ground and snaps off. Dirt and debris spray over the cockpit. The Mustang comes to rest in a shallow furrow. Neither man moves for several seconds. Then hands are on the canopy. Shouting. Accents unmistakable. American voices. The second man lets go and falls backward into the mud, unable to feel his legs. The pilot slumps forward, forehead against the gun sight, breathing in short, controlled bursts. They are pulled clear of the wreckage. Jackets are wrapped around shoulders. Canteens forced into numb hands. Only then does the shaking start. Neither man says anything for a long time. The aircraft was examined that evening. Fuel tanks, empty. Ammunition, unused. Damage, severe but survivable. The mechanics are blunt. Another 30 seconds in the air and the Mustang would have stalled. Another 10 feet on landing and the cockpit would have crushed inward. The second man's arms are bruised deeply, muscle fibers torn from sustained tension. He will not be able to fly for weeks. The cold exposure alone nearly crippled him. The pilot is grounded temporarily as well. Shock, dehydration, exhaustion. They sleep for 12 hours straight, waking only when meals are brought. When questioned, they recount the events without drama. Timelines, altitudes, fuel estimates, German response time. Everything is logged. No one interrupts. The officers listening understand the implications immediately. Captured Allied aircraft are not supposed to be flyable. Temporary camps are not supposed to be vulnerable. And no one is supposed to get 2 men airborne in a single-seat fighter. The incident is classified. Quietly. No press. No celebration. The war does not pause for stories. Within days, both men are returned to operational units, separately. The second pilot never flies another combat mission. The damage to his arms lingers. He finishes the war instructing. The pilot who flew the Mustang returns to escort duty. He flies again over Germany. Again through flak. Again through fighter opposition. He survives the war. The German guards involved are questioned. Procedures change. Captured aircraft are disabled more thoroughly. Camps near airfields are reinforced. The gap closes. There are no more escapes like this one. After the war, the incident circulated quietly among airmen. Not as a legend. As a fact. It appears in debriefs. In training discussions. In margins of unit histories. A case study in judgment under pressure. In mechanical limits. In what happens when calculations are pushed past accepted margins. No one claims it should be attempted again. The math never changed. A P-51 was never designed to carry 2 men. The center of gravity was wrong. The fuel margin was non-existent. The takeoff run was too short. The climb rate is insufficient. Every number argued against survival. What changed was the decision to try anyway, made without optimism, without heroics, and without time. 2 men. 1 aircraft. 1 chance. The war produced millions of sorties. Most ended exactly as planned. A few did not. This one left no wreckage behind enemy lines. No graves. No missing names. Only a damaged Mustang in a French field.